All right, guys, it's time for us to have a conversation. I know it's been a minute. Life's been lifing. I've been growing my edges back. I'm in the worst stage of the process right now. So I didn't feel as comfortable to get on camera and talk about anything if I'm keeping it a buck with y'all. But in this video, I really want to touch on relationships real quick, man. So I ran across this video, and it's not that it's information that I'm not already aware of, but it was just refreshing to run across this type of content, especially in today's climate where everybody is giving advice on pretty much how to not be yourself in order to get a woman, get a man. It was refreshing to hear something that was actually rooted in something sustainable. And that's actually quite simple. And you could just be yourself in order to maintain healthy connections or establish healthy connections. So I want to touch on that. Try not to get thrown off by the name of the YouTuber. The name is Dead Friends. Okay. So the 4 things that she mentioned in the video was communication, curiosity, vulnerability, and authenticity in order to maintain relationships. But for some reason, I feel like I'm missing one. So hold on, let's see. Vulnerability, authenticity. Yes, those are the 4. 4 things that needs to be at the front and center when it comes to establishing romantic connections, like healthy romantic connections, right? So I think about me and how I used to pretty much show up in ways that I didn't even invest in actually becoming. Also, whenever I felt like I didn't get it right, I would just want to start all over again. And that means with somebody new and not that person, and try to figure out how to work through whatever our issues are with that person. I was like, well, they already see my flaws because I never really worked on, again, becoming or investing in the person that I actually wanted to become, right? I never really had too many examples of it. I just knew in my spirit that something different is what I needed to aim for. I just didn't know how to aim for it. I was still fighting my demons, things that traumatized me growing up. I was still fighting those things, didn't know that I was at war with them for a long time. So I've just been thinking about like how many situations I had where I pretty much robbed those women of their freedom of choice when dealing with me because the vulnerability piece wasn't there, the communication wasn't there, the authenticity wasn't there, the curiosity wasn't there. Like I wasn't curious about their life, where they was going. I wasn't even curious about my own life, where I was going. I didn't know who I was, so I couldn't be who I was authentically. Man, the communications, like I grew up in a household where, okay, poetry was my first form of release, of actually expressing my feelings, of communicating, but to myself. So learning how to communicate with another person, it wasn't there. That skill set wasn't there. Yeah. So I just think about like how in today's climate, like when it comes to like dating, a lot of people are scared to be vulnerable. They're scared to be who they are out of fear of rejection. They scared to communicate what they actually want. And they scared to find out who they're dealing with, right? Meaning that's the curiosity piece. It's like, if I learn more about this person and there's things that I don't align with, then I might lose the connection with this person. But you have to be okay with weaving out the people that you don't align with. This is where vulnerability come in. This is where authenticity come in. This is where curiosity come in. This is where communication comes in. They all are the 4 pillars of like really a solid connection, a genuine connection. So if we're steering away from being vulnerable, showing that side of us, it's hard for people to show up for somebody that they don't know if you're not being your authentic self. And that's a part of authenticity, is you being vulnerable and showing those parts of you. When a person chooses to love you, you can't rob them of their freedom of choice of who they're loving. If you're showing up as somebody that you're not because you feel like, okay, this is the person that attracts certain people or that certain people want to keep around, you're robbing them of their freedom of choice, and you're keeping them around under false pretenses. So we have to learn how to be okay with rejection when we're ourselves. Not everybody aligned with us. We're not aligned with everybody. We can't live our life if we're living somebody else's life. That means it's not yours. You're keeping this false image of yourself alive, trying to protect yourself and trying to keep spaces filled with people that probably don't even belong there. That's probably only there to show you certain things about yourself. And we have to be okay with that, because our experiences with people help us expand as people. It helps us expand as a person. So we have to be okay with that rejection, man. That's going to get you way farther in life than trying to conform to society's idea of what perfect is, what beautiful is, what authentic is. You have to be you, and we are all different for a reason. We're called individuals for a reason. So if you want to align with the person that's actually for you, you have to be you to establish that genuine, authentic connection. Looking at myself again, man, like, the way I used to, I'm thinking about like the experiences I had where I've robbed women of their freedom of choice, and experiences that I've had with people where they robbed me of my freedom of choice. This is just how the karmic cycle works, right? Karma is not like just a negative thing. It's very neutral. So it depends on what end of that that pole you wanna dance on, that's what you're gonna get in return. So how I learned more about myself and what I was giving out at first was through those experiences that mirrored what I was, or how I was showing up in those other relationships. And it was just pretty much showing me, like, you claim that you want this and that you want to show up this way, yet that's not how you really showing up. That's not how you existing. That's not what you invested in and becoming. So I had to work on that, man. I also had to stop punishing myself for how I used to show up by trying to continue to water something that was drying out, that wasn't pouring back into me. I had to stop doing that. I had to stop beating myself up. It happened. I grew from it. And now I have to start allowing myself to be open to, I feel like I was scared of what I really align with, if I'm being honest with y'all. I used to beat myself up so bad for like how I used to move in past relationships. Like I used to aim higher than where I was at. And then I started aiming a little bit too low. Like once I actually grew to what I used to aim for, I started aiming too low because I pulled people down, knowing I wasn't really on their level. But I was acting like I was. I pulled those people down. I hurt those people in the process. So when I started aiming a little bit lower and I actually grew into that person, I felt like, okay, I needed to do that. That was a part of my like karmic debt. I needed to pay that off. But like I told y'all before, when you don't grow from things, that's when you have to feel what you've done. That's when you get in return what you've put out, when you don't grow from those things. I was growing from it and still beating myself up for what I used to be on as a person, for how I used to navigate. I've tolerated things I would have never tolerated. My entire life, I always went from like one extreme to the next, man. This time I went too far of an extreme. And now I'm finding my way back to the middle ground, and that's what I want. I want genuine, authentic connections. So I have to be my authentic self. And I have to stop being afraid of being rejected and being judged by that person. That's not my person. And I have to be okay with weeding out the wrong people if I'm really trying to get to where I'm trying to align. I have to be okay with that process. It's still steps forward. You just moving stuff out the way, shifting it to the side out of your path to get to where you're going. And you have to accept it when you face it and not reject it thinking you don't deserve it. And that's what a lot of us do. We claim what we deserve, and then we run away from what we deserve because it makes us feel more comfortable from that little zone we used to play in all the time when things didn't serve us. I've outgrew that person, and I'm ready to just grow into the things I truly deserve. So I'm learning how to communicate better, be curious about other people. I want to know what's going on with you, who you are. That helps me show up better, in a better light for you. When I get to know you better, I know exactly who I'm dealing with, and that's who I can actually love on. I have to be my authentic self, and I have to be vulnerable. I want to show those sides of me people didn't even know existed, because when they see me, they see strength. You know what I mean? They don't really see that I went through some things, or that I have feelings about certain things, or certain things do bother me, because they so used to me showing up for everybody else and being a person that they can lean on, that they didn't even know that I needed to lean sometimes. I need to show that side of me so people can really love me and be with me like wholeheartedly. And same, I need that in return. So hopefully this video helps somebody. I can't apologize for the break, man, because honestly, I haven't been feeling like me. But it's still been peaceful though. Life's been peaceful. Nothing like bad happening on this end, because I made peace with the fact that life is cyclical. So I just been smooth about a lot of things, and I'm being tested heavily right now, and I have to make sure I still show up, because that's what I preach to people is, you still got to serve your purpose. You still have to walk in the light that was assigned to you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing my best, man. Y'all see me here with the little bandana on. Been racking up on these boys. I'm tired of it. But hopefully in the next month, my sides are long enough to reconnect the locks that I cut off. My hair's been growing super fast. It's in a very ugly and uncomfortable stage right now, but they did test it out and said it doesn't have like long to go. So we shall see, man. Hopefully y'all been great. Hope this helps somebody. All right. You want to attract the right people, you have to be yourself. You want to attract who's for you. All right.